You know the feeling, right? You're staring at that big, important task. You know you should start, but suddenly alphabetizing your spice rack feels absolutely critical. Well, that's the procrastination paradox. And today, we're going to dig into why our brains pull this stuff on us.
And hey, if you think it's just you, you are not alone, not even close. Research shows that a full 20% of adults are chronic procrastinators. That's 1 out of every 5 of us. So yeah, it's not some personal failing, it's practically a feature of being human.
So, what is the deal? Are we all just lazy? Or is there like a high-stakes battle going on inside our heads every time a deadline pops up? Spoiler alert, the science is in and it is definitely a battle.
First things first, we need to redefine what procrastination even is. It is not a character flaw. Here's the absolute key. It's an emotional regulation strategy. We're not actually avoiding the work, we're avoiding the bad feelings the work brings up. Anxiety, self-doubt, or even just straight up boredom.
This whole emotional angle takes us right inside our own heads. Because when you procrastinate, there's a literal tug-of-war happening between two very different parts of your brain. And let me tell you, one of those sides does not play fair.
So, in one corner, you've got the limbic system. Just think of it as your brain's inner toddler. It's ancient, it's powerful, and it runs on one simple rule. I want to feel good right now. It sees a tough project, throws a fit, and demands the instant reward of a cat video. And in the other corner, you have your prefrontal cortex. That's the CEO of your brain, the adult in the room trying to focus on long-term goals. When you procrastinate, your inner toddler is basically just winning the shouting match.
And that inner toddler has a secret weapon. It's a cognitive bias called temporal discounting. It sounds super technical, right? But all it really means is our brains are hardwired to think a small reward today is way better than a big reward next month. The satisfaction of finishing that project is kind of abstract and far away. But the dopamine hit from one more click, that's right here, right now.
So because of this internal battle, and because we're so driven to just feel better now, we start telling ourselves some pretty convenient stories to justify the delay. It's time to bust a few of the most common myths out there.
Oh yeah, you know this one. It's the battle cry of procrastinators everywhere. We've all said it. This idea that the adrenaline rush from a looming deadline somehow magically unlocks our inner genius. It sounds great, but is there any truth to it?
Yeah, about that. The short answer is a big fat no. I mean, you might be able to get it done under pressure, sure, but study after study has found zero connection between waiting until the last minute and the actual quality of the work. It feels like this brilliant, high-energy sprint, but really, it's just a stressful scramble that usually leads to sloppier work.
Now, to be fair, researchers do have a couple of categories for this. You've got your active procrastinators. These are the thrill seekers, right? They intentionally put things off to get that last-minute rush. Then you have passive procrastinators, the ones who get totally frozen by anxiety and just can't start. But here's the kicker. Even the active ones, the people who feel like they're in control, the data shows their performance still isn't any better. That whole I work better under pressure thing is mostly just a story we tell ourselves.
And the real price we pay for this delay, well, it goes way beyond a bad grade on a paper or a messy presentation. As we're about to see, chronic procrastination takes a serious, tangible toll on our health and on our wealth.
First up, your health. That whole cycle of putting things off and then panicking, it just floods your body with stress hormones like cortisol and adrenaline. And when that happens over and over, that chronic stress becomes, well, toxic. It's linked to everything from anxiety and depression to a significantly higher risk for really serious stuff like high blood pressure and heart disease.
And that is a heavy price to pay. But the fallout from I'll do it later hits somewhere else too. A place a lot of us never even think about. Our bank accounts. Seriously, financial planning is like the ultimate trap for procrastination. Putting off retirement contributions, you miss out on decades of compound growth. Delaying your taxes, you're probably missing deductions and paying more than you have to. Not updating your will or your insurance, you could be creating a massive, expensive mess for your family down the road.
So just how much are we talking? Well, get this. One analysis found that if you wait just 5 years, say from age 45 to 50, to start maxing out your 401k, it could cost you over $100,000 by the time you retire. A 6-figure mistake, all from a 5-year delay.
Okay, I know that was all a bit heavy,
But here comes the good news, and it is really good news. We are not doomed to live in this cycle forever. Because procrastination is a habit, not a destiny. And now we're going to get into the good stuff, the actual strategies to fight back and rewire our brains.
This right here is probably the most important thing you'll hear today. Procrastination is not who you are. It's not a permanent part of your personality. It is a habit your brain learned to cope with tough emotions. And anything that can be learned can be unlearned. You really do have the power to change this.
So, how do we do it? All right, strategy number 1 is a total game changer. It's called the Pomodoro technique. Basically, you're tricking your brain. The task feels way less scary when it's only for 25 minutes. That short deadline creates just enough urgency. And those little 5-minute breaks, that's the immediate reward your inner toddler is screaming for. It is a genius way to train your focus.
Another killer strategy is to take that huge, terrifying project on your list and just chop it up into tiny, bite-sized pieces. Your goal is no longer write a 20-page report. It's write one good paragraph. This turns one giant, faraway reward into a series of small, immediate victories that build momentum. You're creating small wins to get to the big one.
And there are so many other things you can use. Self-compassion is a huge one. Beating yourself up just creates more of those bad feelings you were trying to avoid in the first place. Using if-then plans takes the decision out of it. And, just finding someone to keep you accountable can make a world of difference.
Look, the point of all this isn't to turn you into some perfect productivity robot who never wastes a single second. That's not realistic. The real goal here is to just understand yourself better and to build a healthier, less stressful relationship with the stuff you've got to get done.
And that really brings us full circle. As the experts say, just understanding why you procrastinate, recognizing it's just a coping mechanism for fear or anxiety. That awareness is the most powerful first step. The knowledge itself starts to take away its power over you.
So I'll leave you with this final question. Not what big thing are you going to finish tomorrow, but what one small thing, that little task you've been putting off, will you work on for just the next 5 minutes? Don't wait for motivation to show up. Just take one tiny imperfect step. Right now.